In the United States of America, being Black means being exhausted. Mary Frances Winters, in her book, Black Fatigue, introduces and defines Black fatigue as the chronic physical and emotional exhaustion caused by the repeated exposure to racism across generations and lifespans. The kind of Black fatigue I'm talking about is not the kind of tired that a nap or a good night's rest can fix. It's not just about being tired from a long day. It's about carrying centuries of trauma and navigating ongoing discrimination in everyday life. And while America proudly proclaims its love for liberty and justice, Black Americans continue to live under the suffocating weight of proving our humanity. But to say that Black fatigue is something that is caused by Black people and not something that is happening to Black people is ridiculous. It's caused by white supremacy. Black fatigue is caused by white supremacy, and no amount of meditation or wellness programs or any kind of hands across America bull is going to fix that. I've got some explaining to do. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Ayana Explains It All, the podcast bridging the gap between current events and human behavior. I am your host, Ayana Fakir, the Black Muslim lady lawyer who has an opinion on everything. And I do mean everything, so don't come for me because I know a lot of stuff, but I don't know everything. So you might win in a battle about neuroscience. I don't know shit about that. Ayana Explains It All can be found on multiple streaming platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Good Pods, Pandora, and a host of others. Go over to our website, www.ayanaexplainsitall.com. That's www.ayanaexplainsitall.com for all things podcast, including how to contact me through email and social media, as well as how to reach out to me regarding topics. If you have an opinion on something, if you want to leave a rating or a review. If you want to be on the podcast, there's also options for that. If you want to support the podcast, you can also do that. There's also every single episode of this show is on that website. Also, you can find transcripts, show notes, show references. I reference articles and books and online accounts and all kinds of things in the episodes that I do. And I try my best to put those in the show summary, but sometimes it doesn't make it to wherever the episode is posted to. And if you want to know where I get information from, you can either go to the website or you can look in the show summary where it's streaming at. But our flagship is Spotify. Spotify has done as well so far. And why do I keep saying us? It's just me here. It's just me. It's me. I am the producer, writer, host, like I said. I am also the key grip, the assistant. I do the craft services. I do occasionally use a swear word on this podcast because that's just how I talk. If that offends you, I don't care. But I love you anyway. I do. I love you. And I do sing a little bit, just a little bit. I'm coming to you from Northeast Ohio. I am in Ohio, one of the strangest places on earth. Please don't ask me why. It's so unreal here. Even the word Ohio sounds made up. It is June 8th, 2025. The reason why I wanted to talk about the particular topic that I've chosen, Black fatigue, is because this has made the rounds on social media. The chatter is kind of dying down, but I feel like we need to still have this conversation. And I'm always late to the party anyway. Why? Because I really don't want to be there. I just want to be invited. So I'm going to talk to you about Black fatigue, and it's being co-opted, just like the word woke. It's being co-opted by whites. Won't someone please think of the whites? They struggle so. They want to have all the things, even the words and the terms that were not meant for them. Why can't we, the Blacks, just have our stuff?
Please continue to hold for our next available agent.
How did this conversation even start in 2025? Well, it actually started in 2024 after the presidential election, when the 92% or the 93%, as it were, who voted for Kamala Harris, the Black women who voted for Kamala Harris for president, decided that we were tired. We were absolutely fatigued from fighting for equality, justice, and fairness for everyone, but then not having that same energy reciprocated when it was time to stand up for us, for Black people, for Black women specifically, or for the rights that Black people enjoy or want to preserve. When we saw the number of white people and Latino people who had turned their backs on us, we declared that we were tired and we were resting. Our Black was fatigued. And in today's world, in 2025, the conversation started online because of a fire that destroyed a plantation home. I saw plenty of Black people, myself included, delighting in the sight of watching a 64-room plantation home burn to the ground. It didn't just burn, right? Firefighters came, put out the fire. What happened? The fire reignited and continued to burn the entire home to the ground, ashes, nothing left. We were happy. We were delighted. We were dancing. We were making jokes. We were good. And then there was us declaring, because we are tired, we are fatigued, we are tired of seeing these symbols of racism, of slavery stand. We want to see them gone. And so that is when the discussion started on the internet. But the discourse about Black fatigue has been ongoing. And if you read the book, which I encourage everyone to do, you will find key themes and ideas in the book that you will see relate to situations in today's society. That racism is a health crisis. You will see discussions about generational trauma from slavery, segregation, and ongoing systemic racism, how that gets passed down. That Black fatigue is inherited and cumulative. Even when we succeed professionally or academically, the burden doesn't go away, as the author discusses in her book. It often increases due to tokenism, microaggressions, and isolation. There's workplace and diversity fatigue, where Black professionals are often expected to educate their peers on racism and diversity, that unpaid, emotionally exhausting labor, and that the push for diversity in the workplace can become performative and unsustainable when it places the burden solely on marginalized employees to be the change, to be the difference makers, to do the explaining, to show the world, look, my employer cares because I'm here. There's also the gaslighting and emotional erosion, constantly being told that racism isn't real or that things are better than they used to be, which leads to a psychological dissonance and exhaustion. White colleagues, media, and institutions often invalidate or minimize Black people's lived experiences. And then we have the joy and the liberation and the rest that is considered revolutionary. It becomes a matter of resistance to say simply, I'm tired and I'm resting. And we see that today in online discourse about the 92% of Black women who have decided to rest. It's revolutionary. It's unheard of. It doesn't make sense. But it can't just be individual coping strategies. Liberation from Black fatigue, as the author discusses, requires systemic change. And that's why I advance that even if you are resting, even if you choose not to fight for equality for other races or groups of people besides your own, you have to continue to fight the systemic racism. Otherwise, the fatigue that you feel will never go away. When I go online, half of my timeline is people, women, Black women specifically, saying, I ain't got to do shit. I'm resting. I'm tired. The other half is, I'm going to do some shit. I'm going to do something. I'm fired up. I'm ready to fight. When what I know, because I look at the statistics and I look at the stories, I read the stories that ICE, immigration, INS, whatever you want to call it, they're taking everyone. They're targeting every group of foreigners, every group, from West Africans to the West Indies to the Eastern Europeans. They have convinced you that they're only targeting one group because that argument makes it easier for them to do what they have to do. So it's easier to turn your back on Latinos, on Mexicans, Venezuelans, Brazilians. It's easier for us to turn our backs on them, to not stop and defend them, because our communities are already slightly fractured, right?
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
So they're only showing you that one group of people that they're taking. They're only showing you that one group of people. They're not showing you the Jamaicans. They're not showing you the Indonesians, the Kenyans. They're not showing you the Ghanaians. They're only showing you the supposedly Mexican and Venezuelan immigrants. They're not showing you the Ukrainians who have had their protected status as asylum refugees removed, that their status in the United States is completely up in the air. They may have to return to a war-torn country. They're not showing you that. What do you care? I mean, honestly, you're not going to get fired up about Ukrainians being returned to the Ukraine. No, you're going to get fired up about seeing some Mexicans rounded up. Yeah, because a lot of you are already there. So they're only going to show you those interactions. The same way network news only shows you, only makes it a point to highlight all of these negative stories about Black people and Black violence, Black on Black violence, Black on white, whatever the case may be. They make it a point of highlighting and showing Black interactions that are negative, even though white people commit more crime than Black people do. If you turn on shows like the 48 Hours or Dateline or 2020, you will see the majority of the stories are about white people who commit crimes. But you don't notice it. You don't notice it. That's acceptable to you. But what gets you worked up? What gets you worked up is when you see Black teens being rounded up because they showed up to a festival and they got upset because they weren't allowed in, or Black teens acting up at a movie theater, or a story about a Black man who shot someone, or a story about a Black woman who stole something from a store, or a story about Black people who got kicked out of Walmart for stealing. It'll be something negative about Black people. That gets you worked up. So you can go, oh my gosh, those people. Yes, let's do something about those people. You're not sitting somewhere going, oh, we really need to do something about white men. But you'll press your politicians about doing something about the Black people who are invading your neighborhoods, who have guns. You want to get the guns off the street. You want to get the gangs off the street. You want to get the drugs off the street. That's what gets you worked up behind politicians. And I'm speaking specifically to white people. But then stories about Hispanics will get the whites and the Blacks mobilized, right? Suddenly you've got the whites and the Blacks against the Latinos. Somebody's got to be at the bottom, right? Someone's got to be the most exploited class. This capitalist nation built on racism. Somebody's got to be at the bottom. It's all a bunch of lies and manipulation. You're being lied to and you're being manipulated. I say this every episode. And who is doing the lying and manipulating? Who is doing this to you? And why? The enemy, the cause of the Black fatigue, your enemy, our enemy is white supremacy. And whether you are fighting it just for Black people, Black Americans, or you're fighting against it for immigrants, Latino immigrants, all immigrants, at least you're fighting it. Because that is the real enemy right there. White supremacy is the real enemy, the cause of the Black fatigue. That is the enemy. So even if you only save your fight for Black people when it comes to fighting against white supremacy, then you're good. You're good. It's the people sitting on their ass and doing absolutely nothing about even white supremacy who are the problem. Those are the people we need to get on. Those are the people whose throats we need to get down. Those are the people we need to talk to convince. Because they don't even see that they're being manipulated. They don't even see that they're being used. They don't even see that they're being exploited to advance the ideas of white supremacy.
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise.
White people do themselves a disservice when they fail to understand what words mean. Words mean things. They do mean things. You cannot disregard it or change the definition because it doesn't suit you either. And just because it feels like it's against you doesn't mean that it is. The whole world ain't against you, bro. No, they're not. Just like the whole world isn't against me as a Black woman. I know. It feels like it is sometimes. In the United States, man, being Black means being exhausted. And whether it's from people not understanding your perspective, people misunderstanding terms like DEI, people misunderstanding words like woke, whether it's from that or from other sources, whatever it is, Black fatigue is not a metaphor. It is a lived experience. It is repetitive, cumulative, and damaging. I feel like people need examples of what Black fatigue is, and so I can stop hearing this BS that's coming from people on social media about what Black fatigue is. Like, Black fatigue is us being tired of you all when you go outside in your bonnets. Black fatigue is us being tired of when y'all go to Walmart, you're all always fighting. What if Black fatigue is us being tired of when our kids go to school, one of your kids is going in there with a gun and killing people? What if it's that? But Black fatigue is certainly attending the funeral of yet another Black person killed by police violence. You might see what's going on out in Los Angeles right now. The National Guard is called in and ICE is out there trying to round people up like there's some kind of cartoon Gestapo. They look ridiculous. I wonder what George W. Bush is thinking right now about the agency he created and how it's being weaponized against the American people. I bet you he's just somewhere painting a picture. He's just off in another world. He's just doing his painting on his ranch, giving out thoughts and prayers. That's what we get when something happens to Black people. We get thoughts and prayers. We get that tired script of thoughts and prayers while knowing no justice will follow. I've had this conversation with a few friends of mine about police violence in the state of Ohio. It's actually a huge problem that no one is doing anything about, especially now that the Department of Justice has decided to no longer investigate police departments or certain jail systems and prison systems. They're deciding that police, whatever they do is right, whatever move they make is correct. They've decided that they're no longer going to look at police departments like where Breonna Taylor was murdered, or where George Floyd was murdered, or where Tamir Rice was murdered. They're no longer going to investigate those. They're no longer going to try to ameliorate the problems faced by these police departments that lead to these illegal deaths, these homicides, or these beatings, or this abuse of power committed by police officers. They're going to pardon police officers who commit violent crimes against innocent civilians. We are not in a post-racial United States. If you look at what is happening with these ICE raids, we are not in a post-racial United States. Certainly not when the current president of the United States has decided to ban travel from Black and Arab majority countries, the Sudan, Somalia, Haiti, Iran, from Myanmar, from Venezuela, Hispanic countries too. He has not banned any travel from any majority white nation. Not the whites. Not the whites. No, the whites are the good ones. Remember, there's a genocide in South Africa against the whites, Ayana. How could you forget? Think of the whites, Ayana. You always forget about the whites. Why won't you think about the whites? I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, white people. I'm sorry I don't think about you. I don't consider you. No, I'm so sorry. I'm a thoughtless human being. Or maybe it's because I'm spending so much of my time navigating microaggressions at work and on social media and out in the real world while I'm shopping at the grocery store, shopping at Walmart, Maybe I don't have the energy to think about you because I'm too busy thinking about myself, protecting myself. In fact, I dropped my daughter off at a college summer camp, just like a little preview of college. And it's in a very, very small town in Ohio. Ohio is, in fact, mostly small towns, a lot of rural areas. And let me tell you, these are not Black friendly places. These are not racial minority friendly places. These are not Muslim friendly places. These are very white, very Christian places. You will get looked at, stared at, glared at, whispered about. I noticed it today. You know what I did though? Not a damn thing, because you can't stop me from living, honey. But what I do is I adjust. I adjust my thinking. I don't go into these places thinking that any of these people want me to be there. I go in thinking, I am entitled to be there. I'm allowed to be there. I'm going to be there. There's nothing you can do to stop me from being there. You don't own this shit. Sam Walton does. But, you know, Black fatigue is, if you look at, you know, the neighborhood that this college is in versus the neighborhoods that, you know, I grew up in, you definitely see the difference, what's invested in and what's not. Black fatigue is seen in neighborhoods long ignored by investment and public services. Black families face another layer of fatigue when they want to buy a house or when the area that they're living in becomes environmentally dangerous, like Louisiana. Louisiana is one of the most dangerous states for Black people to live in as far as the environment is concerned. The air, the water, the land is what I'm talking about. Not the parties, not, you know, the Mardi Gras and the beads and shit. No, the air and the water, some of the most poisonous in the entire country. But it's neglected because it's inconvenient for the people in power. It's to the advantage of the state of Louisiana to have all of these corporations do business there because it brings money to the region. They don't care that they have oil spills that have not been cleaned up. They don't care that they have a place in Louisiana, an entire interstate that's called Cancer Alley. People ask you what environmental racism is. It's what's happening in the state of Mississippi. It's what's happening in the state of Alabama. It's what's happening in the state of Maryland, Baltimore specifically. It's what happened in Flint, Michigan. These places where predominantly Black people live. If people hadn't started getting sick in Flint, who would have even known? But it's so strange to me. Like you can't really exist everywhere you want to. You can't really just be wherever you want to because somebody's going to have something to say. And this is what we see in these videos a lot on social media. You see white people angry. And maybe it's just my algorithm, honey, but I'm seeing this a lot lately. White people angry about the presence of a Black person somewhere. You're fishing, you're delivering packages, you're waiting for a friend, you're picking up a friend, you're driving Uber, you're at a gym, you're at a restaurant, you're getting ice cream. Just our presence vexes these people. Why are y'all so angry? Is that your Black fatigue? You tired of seeing us? I feel like we're going backwards. You know, we're going back in time when it was gauche to be a Black person on the street. You, what are you doing here? You should be on the Black side of town, drinking from the Black water fountains and using the Black entrance and sitting in the Black part of the movie theater, the one that's covered in piss. It's insane. It's exhausting.
Now, cook.
Black fatigue is the emotional labor of grieving losses from racism and discrimination while being told that these things, it's not really happening and racism is a thing of the past and you need to let it go. We're told to let slavery go. Meanwhile, white people are holding on to these plantations that were once the site of American slavery. And not as museums or anything. No, they're holding on to these things for events like weddings and graduation parties and vacation tourism. You could sleep in the slave quarters, our newly remodeled slave quarters. Look at the bows on the pillows. Look at the hearth and home signs. Oh, look at the mason jar drinking vessels. Look at how we've added these steps. We remodeled the steps so you wouldn't have to step where the slaves once stepped. Aren't you lucky? I don't know what that accent is, by the way. I just imagine this is how these people talk. But we're told to let slavery go. We're told it's in the past. It's a thing of the past. Okay, so when that plantation burned down, that plantation home burned down, why didn't y'all just let that go? There were people online crying. Oh, you took my, that's where I got married at. I'm supposed to be getting married there. Y'all took my wedding venue. Now I gotta find somewhere else to get married. Won't someone think of the white wedding? Think of the white wedding. No, I'm not gonna sing White Wedding. I'm not, I promise. This is not about Blacks have to be resilient, Blacks have to let things go, and Blacks have to move on. Black people, we have been resilient enough. Black fatigue is not something that is symbolic. It's not poetic. It's the daily toll of racism, mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical, passed down like an unwanted inheritance, from generation to generation. As Mary Frances Winters says in her book, Black Fatigue, navigating centuries-old racist systems leads to intergenerational stress and trauma, increasing inherited health disparities that manifest as generations of oppressively inequitable life experiences and outcomes for Black people. And as Mary Frances Winters writes in her book, navigating centuries-old racist systems leads to intergenerational stress and trauma, increasing inherited health disparities that manifest as generations of oppressively inequitable life experiences and outcomes from Black people. That means that we inherit the trauma. It's passed down from generation to generation to generation. And that becomes our life experience. That intergenerational stress and trauma becomes the life experience of our children. And it manifests itself in health disparities. We inherit health disparities. We inherit racial disparities. We inherit economic disparities. And when racism is a public health emergency, then Black fatigue is also a public health emergency. The more stress that is put on a person who is already more susceptible to diabetes, cardiovascular disease, the greater the chance that person will pass away before they reach the age of 60. And you see it. You see a lot of Black people not reaching the age of 60, and you don't understand why. But it could be stress from having to survive being Black in America. This is still a very real problem, a very real problem. And when that plantation home burned down and Black people had to look at white people cry about losing their wedding venue that used to be a fucking sugar plantation, Lord have mercy. Tired, man. Fucking tired. We're tired. We're tired of being told, let go of the past while you get to hold on to the past. While you get to mourn your past. While you get to mourn this, we're being told to let go of the thing that created this. Why don't we burn it all down? We don't need to use them as museums. We don't need to use them as places where you reflect. No. You're going to get rid of, if you're going to make us let go of slavery, not teach slavery in schools, not teach about the real reason behind the Civil War, not teach about the Civil Rights era, get rid of all this. Take all the names, take all the statues. Don't even put them in a museum. Burn them all. Melt them all down. Take it all. Get rid of it all. Like I said, Black fatigue is not symbolic. It's not poetic. It is the daily toll of racism. It's watching your ideas get ignored until someone white says them. This happens to me a lot. This happens to me a lot. And suddenly they're innovative ideas. Suddenly they're, oh, I never heard that before. I just fucking said it 5 seconds ago. I am tired of that. I'm tired of being the friendly black coworker or the diversity expert. You have to be the bridge. You have to be the translator. You have to be the bigger person. You have to be the one who understands. You got to be the understanding black person. You got to help people understand things about black people while also being told, oh, you're so articulate. Oh, look at the way you talk, the way you dress. Oh my God, you're so impressive. Like, what do you mean? Don't ever tell a black person that they're so articulate. Don't ever tell a person that, well, you look at the way you're dressed. You dress so well. And black fatigue, yes, is something that we feel very early. Our children are punished harder, tested more, and supported less. Our children are labeled as disruptive instead of gifted. That happens where I live at in Shaker Heights, Ohio. Black people, as children, were taught a history that starts with slavery and ends with Dr. King's dream, and none of the truth in between, honey. And let's not pretend that it ends when we leave school either. We come home to neighborhoods where grocery stores are replaced by liquor stores, where public schools crumble, where the rent rises, but the wages don't. We live in communities that are over-policed and under-resourced. We know that a traffic stop can become a death sentence, and every time we say their names, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Sandra Bland, Tyree Nichols, we are not just mourning, we are breaking piece by piece. This fatigue, this exhaustion, it's not a sign of weakness or an inability to be resilient. It's a response to trauma. Black fatigue is not about individual struggles. It is a collective, systemic wound. And still we are expected to smile, to explain, to forgive, to keep working, to keep dancing, to keep surviving, to keep singing, keep acting, keep going, keep doing. But let me be clear once again, because I think there are more of you who need to hear this than not. Black fatigue is not caused by black people. It is caused by white supremacy, by the systems that benefit from our labor, our culture, our brilliance, while denying us peace, safety, and dignity. And no amount of just get over it, no amount of cultural erasure, no amount of historical erasure, no amount of you taking African American studies out of schools, passing your laws against DEI, no amount of you removing multicultural student centers, black student centers, and taking away black graduation and erasing black excellence programs is going to fix that. It's important to note that the term black fatigue has also been co-opted or misunderstood by some to dismiss or invalidate the experiences of black people. Understanding the true meaning and impact of black fatigue requires recognizing the systemic nature of racism and its profound effects on black individuals and communities. People will say, oh, but racism doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't exist. But there are these day-to-day aggressions and disrespect that exist that prove that racism is still alive and well. This includes facing microaggressions, implicit bias, and overt racism on a daily basis through, for instance, modern-day redlining, forced gentrification, environmental racism, wrongful convictions, undercounting of blacks in the U.S. Census, undercounting of blacks in the U.S. Census, media highlighting the dereliction of blacks versus our achievements, black achievement being perpetually attributed to DEI or affirmative action, the need to constantly prove our worth, where black individuals feel that we must work harder to be seen as equally capable and deserving of opportunities. But then we also have to be exposed to news of injustice and violence. Regularly witnessing or hearing about racial injustices and violence directed at people of color can be emotionally draining. We live under racist systems still. Yes, we do. The systemic nature of racism creates stress and disparities in various aspects of life, such as education, employment, housing and healthcare still to this day in 2025. And guess who has only made it worse now by rolling back policies that were to benefit racial minorities, including blacks, as well as low-income people. By removing funding for healthcare programs, housing programs, food programs meant to elevate people out of despair, poverty, programs meant to give everyone an equal footing. Equity, yes, programs meant to promote fairness and justice have been defunded. It impacts our well-being. It takes a mental and emotional toll on us. It's important to note while this has become a hot button issue, that once people stop talking about it on social media, it will still exist and it's still something that we will have to wrangle with, still something that we will have to deal with, still something that we will have to fight. Just because people stop talking about it doesn't mean it's gone away. Absolutely not. Black fatigue is an ongoing reality. But so is our capacity for renewal. And if you're tired, that's valid. If you're enraged, that's justified. If you're healing, you're ahead of the curve. But we can't move on until all of us are able to do the healing, until all of us are no longer living under the systems that humiliate us. We need institutions, we need communities that affirm our humanity. To end Black fatigue, we must end the systems that produce it. Many scholars have said this. Is it ever going to happen? We have to stop criminalizing Black thought, Black skin. We have to stop silencing Black voices. We must stop commodifying Black culture while killing Black people. We must listen, we must learn, we must act. Because Black people deserve more than survival. We deserve joy, we deserve safety, we deserve peace, we deserve the freedom to just be without explanation, translation, and without exhaustion. And until that day comes, Black fatigue will remain America's quiet crisis. And whether you as a Black person believe you are a sufferer of this, I guarantee you are. And until we break these cycles by getting rid of the institutions that perpetuate them, it'll continue to be passed down. And until we use our power to elevate our status, until we demand that the states and the corporations stop poisoning us, until we demand that the entertainment industry stop making a minstrel show of our culture, until we demand that American schools stop trying to erase our history and our culture. And I don't just mean going on social media and complaining. I mean, you getting in these people's faces. I mean, you go into the ballot box. Vote these MFers out of office. Do the best you can. Run for office yourself. Run for office yourself. They have tried to convince us that we are powerless. We are not powerless. We have a lot of power. We have economic power, we have political power, we have social power. Otherwise, they wouldn't be trying to strip us of it. If we had none, they would ignore us. They worked hard last year. The whites of the Republican Party, they worked really hard last year to get those Black votes. You know why? Because they can't win elections without us. They simply cannot. They can't. There aren't enough of them anymore. Hell, even the Democrats, there aren't enough. We have power. We have agency. We can overcome Black fatigue. And Black excellence is not the opposite of Black fatigue. And Black rest isn't what we need because we are fatigued. You can't rest when you see these things happening to your people. You cannot rest. You can't. I know we want to rest. We want to get comfortable. But I'm telling you, these people are working hard against us. They're working hard to erase us. They're working hard against us. They're working hard to get our vote just so they can toss it. Just to gain an advantage, a political advantage. They use us to gain a political advantage and then don't address our needs. And until we get rid of Black fatigue, well, it remains our burden. This has been Ayana Explains It All, brought to you by Facts, Figures, and Enlightenment. Take care.